الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله
الحمد لله الملك العلام ذي الجلال والإكرام أكمل لنا الدين وأتم علينا الإنعام وأنزل علينا القرآن هدى للأنام وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له المعبود بحق على الدوام وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله المبعوث رحمة للأنام من اتبع سنته اهتدى واستقام ومن أعرض عنه تخبت في دياضير الضلال صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه الطيبين الأعلام وعلى صحابته خيار الكرام وبعد فإن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله وأحسن الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. My dear respected brothers and sisters, parents, young people, youth, children, from the most important things, or from the most important stages of the person's life is when he's young. The time of Shabab or Shab. This is something that Allah Ta'ala and Prophet ﷺ emphasized on in the Quran. And many ahadith came talking about young people in the Sunnah of Prophet ﷺ. Stories from the Quran telling us about what happened to some of the young people that were mentioned. And from those stories is the story that comes in a surah that we read every Friday. We have Qurans there on the table. People, when the Imam comes and he starts the khutbah, they go and put the Quran back. What were they reading? Usually they're reading Surah Al-Kahf. Surah Al-Kahf, as you know, is a surah which is very important and tremendous. And Prophet ﷺ, he advised us to read this surah every single Friday. But it came in a hadith that the one who memorizes and knows the last two verses of Surah Al-Kahf, then he is going to be preserved from the fitna of Dajjal. And we know who Dajjal is. Or we heard what Dajjal is. And who is this? And by the way, from the signs of Yawm al-Qiyamah is that speaking about Dajjal is not going to be very prevalent. People are going to forget about Dajjal. One of the signs of Yawm al-Qiyamah is that there's not going to be khutbahs about Dajjal. So a person should be some khutbah about Dajjal and what are the signs of the Dajjal and what, warning against him and so on and so forth. But this is not the topic of our khutbah today. This surah, Surah Al-Kahf, it was named after an incident that happened with a group of young people. Allah Ta'ala, He tells us this story to show us the importance. And Allah Azza wa Jalla does not mention stories in the Quran just for play, just to tell you about what happened. Nah. He tells us the story in the Quran so we can learn from them, so we can take benefit from those. These people, Ashab al-Kahf, they were young people that Allah Azza wa Jalla chose to show some of the miracles. Ashab al-Kahf, they stayed in the cave for so much, for a long time. They were running away from oppression and from shirk and from their nations that were against the religion of Allah Azza wa Jalla. And Allah tells us his story, and he mentions they were young people. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he mentions in many ahadith the importance of youth, the importance of young people. Abdullah ibn Abbas radiyallahu ta'ala anhu narrates, and he said, كنت خلف النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم فقال يا غلام إني أعلمك كلمات احفظ الله يحفظك احفظ الله تجده تجاهك إذا سألت فاسأل الله وإذا استعنت فاستعن بالله واعلم أن الأمة إذا اجتمعت على أن ينفعوك بشيء لن ينفعوك إلا بشيء قد كتب الله لك وإن اجتمعوا على أن يضروك بشيء لن يضروك إلا بشيء قد كتبه الله عليك رفعت الأكلام وجفت الصحف. Abdullah ibn Abbas, he tells us in this hadith that he was behind the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And look at this. Who from the leaders, again, he's going to have a young brother, a young person next to him, who in his assemblies of, of reunion or shura, they don't even have young people. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was very close to young people, to the extent that he would allow them to ride behind him on the same camel or the same horse. Ibn Abbas says that I was behind Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and Prophet told me, "Oh young man, ghulam, I'm going to teach you few words. Inni u'allimuka kalimat." And Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam used this to pay or to grab his attention, so that he understands that what is to come is going to be important. What the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is about to tell me, I have to pay attention to it because it's going to be priceless. He said, "Ihfadillah yahfadk." Oh young man. And again, this doesn't just apply to young people. It can be a benefit from all of us. But Ashahid is that Prophet was saying to the young man, I'm going to teach you important words. Preserve Allah, and Allah is going to preserve you. Preserve the boundaries of Allah Azza wa Jal, and He is going to preserve you. Stay away from what Allah Azza wa Jal told you to stay away from, and you're going to be protected by Him. Do you want Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala ordered you to do, and you're going to find Him with you. احفظ الله يحفظك احفظ الله تجده تجاهك. Preserve what Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala told you to do, and you're going to find Him in front of you. Is that physically? No. You're going to see that Allah Azza wa Jalla will make your affairs easy. The things that you're asking for, He's going to give you. If you need protection, Allah is going to protect you, and so on and so forth. إذا سألت فاسأل الله. When you ask, only ask from Allah Azza wa Jalla. Does that mean you can't ask your parents? Does that mean you can't ask your friend? No. We're talking about things that only Allah can give you. If you are to ask, then ask only from Allah Azza wa Jalla. Especially those things that are important. Don't be from the people who, as soon as they have a need, they never think about Allah. The first thing that comes to their mind is someone else, something else. Before even making dua to Allah that Allah heals them, they are already thinking about going to the hospital. Which is not a bad thing, but Allah Azza wa Jalla should be in our mind constantly about anything and any need that we have. إِذَا سَأَلْتَ فَاسْأَلِ اللَّهِ وَإِذَا اسْتَعَنْتَ فَاسْتَعِنْ بِاللَّهِ. And if you're going to seek protection, then seek protection only from Allah Azza wa Jalla. And this has the same meaning with the verses that we read every single day, every single salah, every single rak'ah. إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ. It's the same thing. You only, Ya Allah, we worship, and in you only we seek refuge and aid and security from. And know, Sallallahu told Ibn Abbas, وَعْلَمْ أَنَّ الْأُمَّةِ. Know that if all of the Muslims, from Adam alayhi salatu wasalam all the way to Yawm al-Qiyamah, all the Muslims were to come together to aid you in one thing, then they are not going to be able to do so only if Allah wanted that to happen to you. If you're wishing to do one thing, you want to pass your exam, you want to succeed, you want to be successful and so on and so forth, no, you are Muslim. That even if the president or the queen or the king, whoever comes to your aid, and it wasn't decreed for you, it's not going to happen. And also the opposite is correct. If everybody in the dunya is against you and Allah is with you, then they have nothing. They can't harm you with anything. وَاعْلَمْ أَنَّ الْأُمَّةِ إِذِ اسْتَمَعَتْ عَلَىٰ أَن يَنْفَعُوكَ بِشَيْءٍ لَنْ يَنْفَعُوكَ إِلَّا بِشَيْءٍ قَدْ كَتَبَهُ اللَّهُ لَكَ. If Allah decreed that thing to happen to you, for it to come to you, no one can stop it. So don't be from the people who, when something doesn't happen to them, they're always blaming other people. Oh, it's because it's your fault. It's your fault. It's his fault. Nah. Perhaps Allah didn't decree it for you. Perhaps Allah didn't want it for you. So ask Allah Azza wa Jal, only Him. And don't blame other people. This hadith, Prophet is giving importance to this young man, giving him advice. The Prophet ﷺ, he mentioned in another hadith, a very tremendous hadith. He said, سَبَعَةٌ يُظِلُّهُمُ اللَّهُ فِي ظِلِّهِ يَوْمَ لَا ظِلَّ إِلَّا ظِلُّهُ. 7 types of people, 7 categories of people that Allah is going to shade Yawm al-Qiyamah when there's no shade except His. And you know Yawm al-Qiyamah, when the sun is going to be very close to our heads. How is that going to happen? Allahu A'lam. Right now the sun is far away from us and we still feel the heat of the sun. Imagine Yawm al-Qiyamah when the sun is going to be like this, so close to our heads. How hot it would be. There's a hadith that mentions that people are going to be drowned in their sweat. Someone is going to sweat and his sweat is going to be all the way to his knees, to his hips, to his neck. Some people are going to be drowned in their sweat because of the shiddah of the day. And some people that Allah chose, they're going to be under the shade of Allah Azza wa Jal, under the shade of His throne. From those that are going to be under the shade of Allah Azza wa Jal, a young man, shabun nasha'a fi ta'atillah, a young man who grew up and he became acquainted from a young age, coming to the MASJID, memorizing the Quran, being a good boy. And he grew up like this all the way till he was an adult and an old man. He was never from the people who, they don't pray, they don't fast, they don't come to the MASJID, they sleep around, they drink alcohol, all they do is go into parties and music. He wasn't into that. From his young age all the way. And look at the fadl of this. The importance of you sticking to the deen and being upright since you're a young boy. You're going to be under the shade of Allah when other people are drowned in their sweats. Don't you know that from the major companions, from the most important companions, the companions that narrated the most ahadith were young people? Imam al-Suyuti, rahimahullah ta'ala, he mentions lines of poetry and he says, وَالْمُكْثِرُونَ فِي رِوَايَةِ الْأَثَرِ أبو هريرة يليه ابن عمر وأنس والبحر كالخضري وجابر وزوجة النبي. Those who narrated the most ahadith, those names that you hear all the time, Abu Hurairah, Abdullah ibn Umar, Anas ibn Malik, Abu Sa'id al-Khudri, Abdullah ibn Abbas, Jabir ibn Abdullah, Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha. Do you think they were old people when they were narrating the hadith? La. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam passed away and some of them were 10 years old, 12 years old, 15 years old. They were even younger than me when the Prophet passed away. And they had the ability to narrate most of the hadiths that you hear today. How many times can you read 3, 4, 5 hadiths and you don't hear the name of Abu Hurairah? It's very rare. How many times you read 1, 2 hadiths and you don't hear the name of Ibn Abbas, as we just did? Those Sahaba radiallahu ta'ala anhum, they were not old people with the white beards. That I'm talking about when Prophet was alive. But they had great responsibilities. A companion like Usama ibn Zayd, radiallahu ta'ala anhu, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam made him the leader of the army. And he was still young, 15 years old. What do people who are 15 do today? They're happy that Messi won the World Cup. This is the most important thing for them. They support Manchester City and Liverpool, and this is what they talk about. And they play the PlayStation, and they waste time. This is not what the companions were doing. The companion had ulul himma. They were achieving, or they wanted to achieve greater goals. It wasn't just feeble things like this that we did today. La. So these companions, they should be our examples. You should be, or you should want to be like them. Like the companions that we just mentioned. They're the role models. It's not Cristiano Ronaldo, it's not Messi, it's not Haaland, and all these players that we have today. La. The shining stars are the Sahaba radiallahu ta'ala anhum. They are the influences, they're the real influences. They should be the one that we look up to, and the way they used to be. So I'm going to give you advice directed to these young people. Number one, I advise you with your parents. The Prophet ﷺ, he said in the hadith, when a man came to him, he said, Ya Rasulullah, man ahaqqu an-nasi bi suhbati? O Messenger of Allah, who is the person who I should stay closest to? Prophet ﷺ said to him, Ummuk, your mother. And he said, Thumma man? He said, Ummuk, your mother. And he said, Thumma man? He said, Ummuk, your mother again. Thumma man? He said, Abuk. And this shows the tremendous level that our mothers have. And as I always say in this masjid, and I'm sure you heard it many times, ask the people who don't have their mothers around. And they will tell you, I wish my mom was here even if she was old. I wish I could see her for one last time. You still have your mother today, and you're giving her trouble. She has to ask you to do something 5, 6, 7 times. You don't clean your room, but you're acting like a big man. Your mom has to shout at you all the time for you to accomplish one single small task. What are you giving your mom headaches, man? Why? The Prophet ﷺ, he said to a man who asked him about his father, he said, you and your money, you belong to your father. We all belong to our fathers. What does your dad has to do? He has to shout at you 5, 6 times before you can do a small task. Why aren't you helping at home? You think your parents are they were born to serve you? They're supposed to be your butlers? So your mom cooks for you, she does all the night, but you can't even wash the dishes, you can't even clean your room, you can't even do your bed. She has to be on top of you all the time. And I'm speaking here to all of you, 15 years old, 10, all of you guys. The Prophet ﷺ, he advised us with our friends, concerning our friends. He said, alayhi salatu wasalam, amuru ala yadini khalilihi. This is my second advice. Look for who is your friend, who is your boy, who is your mate, who would you chill with, who would you hang around with. And make sure they are pious, upright, and good Muslims. Don't be friends with any person. Don't be friends with someone who always curses, and is a bad boy, and is always in trouble, always in detention. Your friend should be the best in the class, the most intelligent one, the one who comes on time, the one who respects his parents. This is supposed to be your friend. He's not supposed to be any Joe Blow. But third advice with the Quran. Memorizing the Quran. Memorizing the Quran and coming to madrasa and do what you're supposed to do in madrasa. The Prophet ﷺ, in telling us the status that the parents of a person who knows the Quran, he said they're going to come Yawm al-Qiyamah and they would have crowns on their heads. This is the parent, the mother and the father. How about you who memorize the Quran? What do you think is going to be your reward? It's going to be more than that, of course. From the advice I want to give to the youth today is to seek ilm. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, مَنْ يُرِدِ اللَّهُ بِهِ خَيْرًا يُفَقِّهُ فِي الدِّينِ. Whoever Allah Ta'ala wants good for, He he gives him understanding of the religion, fiqh. The companions that we mentioned from them, Abdullah ibn Abbas, he was known as Al-Bahr, the sea. And this is a metaphor to show how vast his knowledge was. So while you're young, start seeking knowledge now. Come to the classes, listen to lectures, learn your religion. And this is how you're going to be a young man who's going to grow up in the worship of Allah Azza wa Jalla, and perhaps you will be from those who will be under the shade of Allah Azza wa Jalla. From the advice that I want to give to the young people today is to have manners. Focus on your manners and your etiquettes. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, إِنَّمَا بُعِثْتُ لِأُتَمِّمَ مَكَارِمَ الْأَخْلَاقِ. I was only sent to perfect, to complete good etiquettes. Allah Ta'ala described him and he said, وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَى خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ. So copy and learn how the Prophet used to carry himself, how his manners used to be. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله على إحسانه والشكر له على توفيقه وامتنانه وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له تعظيما لشأنه وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله الداعي إلى رضوانه أما بعد. And I just ask the brothers to come forward a little bit. There's still people at the back and the masjid is getting packed, so please fill up the gaps and come forward. جزاكم الله خير. Allah Tabarak wa Ta'ala, he said in the Quran, إذا يا أيها الذين آمنوا إذا قيل لكم تفسحوا في المجالس فافسحوا يفسح الله لكم. That when you're told in a gathering to make space for your brothers, then do so, because Allah Azza wa Jalla is going to make a space for you as well, perhaps in Jannah. على كل حال, my advice is not going to be complete unless I talk to the fathers and the mothers, because again, you have the responsibility to aid and help these kids to become what we just mentioned. It's not just up to them. They would need your help and your support. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, warning us parents, he said, كلكم راع وكلكم مسؤول عن رعيتي فالرجل راع وهو مسؤول عن رعيتي والمرأة راعية وهي مسؤولة عن رعيتها. And these hadiths should make us shake and think twice. Prophet ﷺ, he said, all of you guys are shepherds. All of us are shepherds. And you're going to be asked about your flock. The man is a shepherd and he's going to be asked about his flock, i.e. his family. What did you do with your family? Were you on top of what they were doing, what they were supposed to do? Or did you just say, no, I'm just working, I'm making money for them and that's it? وَالْمَرْأَةُ رَاعِيَّةٌ وَهِيَ مَسْئُولَةٌ رَعِيَّتِهَا. As a mother, you can't just say and lay back and say, no, my husband is the leader, he's going to do everything. My job is just to cook, clean, and that's it. That's not just your budget, your job. You have a better responsibility than that. You perhaps have a bigger responsibility on those kids more than your husband. So, these Sahaba that we mentioned, they didn't become these great men just by themselves. Abdullah ibn Umar, his father was Umar ibn Khattab. Ibn Abbas, his father was there as well. Aisha, her father is Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu. But they didn't become these great companions unless they had their fathers that would advise them, that would teach them, that would lead by example. And this is what we like today. Leading by example. You cannot ask your child to pray 5 times a day, to be a good Muslim, to be this and to be that, and you're not even applying yourself. You're not even doing it yourself. How is your child going to learn Quran when he never sees you reading the Quran? How is he going to go to madrasa and he never sees you reading the Quran? You only read Quran in Ramadan, that's all you do. In Ramadan, now that completes the whole of the Quran. How about throughout the year? You never pick up the Quran and your child is meant to be happy with the Quran. Do you really believe that's going to happen? Or are you just watching football and you're also happy when Messi scores and he wins? How do you expect your child to be Ibn Abbas or Ibn Umar and you're not like Umar? You're not even trying to be like Umar. Is it possible? So leading by example. We have to be leaders. And we can't just blame the kids to be bad and they're not respectful and they're not this and they're not that. But we are doing the same thing. We're doing what we're telling them not to do. No, it's not supposed to be like that. The mothers likewise. You cannot ask your daughters to do this and to do that and to be good girls and so on and so forth, but you're not doing it. You're asking your daughters to be respectful and to be nice girls, but when it comes to your husband, you talk to him like he was the last man on earth. He wasn't worth anything. Now, when you respect your husband, you respect those kids, they're going to show you likewise. Prophet ﷺ said in tremendous hadith, he said, Al-mu'minu mir'at al-mu'min. The believer is a mirror to another believer. So what are you going to teach those kids? And where are you going to lead by example? And do what you're supposed to do. And respect Allah Azza wa Jalla and stay away from the things that He made haram. And act upon what you're supposed to do. And that's when the kids are going to follow as well, for sure. And that's what Allah Azza wa Jalla said. That if you fear that Yawm al-Qiyamah, or if you fear that you're going to leave kids behind you, then have taqwa. Make sure you apply taqwa in your life. And Allah is going to protect your kids and make them the best, inshaAllah Azza wa Jalla. اللهم أرنا الحق حقا وارزقنا اتباعه وأرنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه. اللهم اغفر لنا ذنوبنا وكفر عنا سيئاتنا وتوفنا مع الأبرار. اللهم سلم يا رب العالمين وأقم الصلاة يرحمكم الله.